Arthur is a kids' TV show that has been around since the late 90s and is still on to this day. It was one of the weirdest reality based shows that sets examples for kids. I grew up with it and still watch it on weekday mornings when I don't have school. The story, though, will explain what has thwarted me from buying other old episodes on tape. I had written the description of the episode a few years back and left it on my computer, and after much thought, I decided to release it. I wish this tape had survived longer enough for me to get some screenshots from it, but alas, the film tore badly, and during repairs, I lost all but 5 minutes of the episode. The tape was bought secondhand about a month ago from my normal secondhand media store, like the corner store. For those who don't live in the central Alberta area, it's an old music store that became a secondhand book slash movie store some time ago. I have bought almost 100 VHS tapes from him, all of which worked fine, except for this one. I bought the tape because I'm trying to find some old episodes of Arthur again to bring back good memories of my childhood. I loved that show. I still watch it to this day. That's all you should know. They still make it. And the new ones are nothing to brag about, really. The animation looks cheap and rather rushed. The stories are often dull and focus on mental illness in children, like the one about the kid with Asperger's. Feels out of place. Characters have been changed. The bullies are now good guys. Francie is even more of a bitch. And DW no longer has moments that make her seem like more than a spoiled brat. The show has been ruined. To escape this mess, I went out to buy some old episodes on tape. Home recordings were a particular interest, so I could see some of the old commercials that had aired at the time. I bought about $5 worth of the old tapes, each at 50 cents. They all seemed fine, and each was preparely labeled with the episode time recordings, dates, and timestamps. The one that caught my eye was the title, Death of Grandma, recorded on March 5th, 1998, which, with a lone timestamp of 15 minutes and 24 seconds, lost the channel. It was an episode I did not know from the air date that seemed almost too old to be trusted. I noticed the title had been written on the patch of white out. I decided against scraping it off. Perhaps it was a recording of something in the people's lives? I decided to watch it first. The beginning of the episode was was the Arthur the beginning of the opening of Arthur's theme sounded a bit tiny, probably due to bad recording equipment. The tape had issues that troubled me, mainly the tracking. I just couldn't get it to stop being jumpy and it awkward to watch. I eventually gave up, leaving it where there was a line of fuzz across the top of the of the screen. There was no opening title for the episode. It showed the Elwood City Hospital, something I wasn't very familiar with. The sad music was playing. The only one car in the parking lot was the Reeds. It cut to Arthur and the W in the waiting room. Arthur was reading a scare your pants off book, while the W pre-stored him about the story. The volume was bad, making it hard for me to listen to. I'll do my best to recreate what they were saying, though it's hard to remember. Why won't you play with me, Arthur? I'm bored. Why are we even here? Shut up, DW. I'm trying to read. Parents came down the hall. Mom was crying and the dad looked shocked. DW ran to them, asking why Arthur was ignoring her. The dad told her to sit down. Now, kids, I'm afraid that we won't be seeing Grandma Sora again. She's gone to a better place. He broke into tears. As always, the voice acting was pretty good. Arthur dropped his book and shot and stared. They sat there, unmoving, the tape wrinkling with static, as the parents crying looped over and over. It cut to them at home. The mom was talking on the phone, looking sad but acting professional. DW was staring at the TV, but it was at a black screen. Baby Kate was just sitting there, unmoving. Dad was making a wedding cake, his face grim. The doorbell rang, and Arthur opened the door. It was Buster. Hey, I heard what happened. You want to go down to the sugar bowl and talk? Sure. The shot of sugar bowl appeared, but there was no music, only wind blowing. I noticed it was fall. The episode as dead leaves littering the ground. Arthur and Buster were sitting there, not talking, not moving. It reminded me of one of the still frames of that sometimes appeared in the old TMNT show, also known as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Buster spoke, but his mouth was not moving with the words at all. We should go do something fun to ourselves up. After Arthur just stared at him, eyes blank. It jumped suddenly to a funeral. Everyone was in black. There was no music, only crying. The casket was pure white, dropped in flowers. It showed Arthur, his face wet with tears. Before the imagination sound cue came in, the casket opened, and it wasn't Grandma Zora, but instead his mom. Her face was heavily wrinkled, like in the episode where DW got lost in the mall and was thinking about what life would be without her. Her teeth was showing, and the color was off, being more of a yellow than a normal white. Her eyes suddenly opened, but they were not human, but rather black button eyes like on Arthur's stuffed bear Stanley. He screamed. Everyone vanished, leaving him alone in the church. The walls fell in, exposing red and black streaked sky. PW's laughter could be heard, high and rapid. There was a loud bang, and the images stopped. Arthur was sitting there with his face pale. His mom was whispering something to Dad. PW was crying. They were walking in a single file line to the coffin. As Arthur got closer, you could hear the buzzing of fleas. He swallowed and wiped his eyes. The coffin lid was open. He looked in. There was a shot of his face. He was enraged. There was a flash of white, and that sounded was gone of the movement. Suddenly, they were in the car again. The episode ended. As for commercials, they weren't anything amazing. Just some ads for Chick-fil-A and KSPS. The next part did have a title, Recovery. It was written on a plain white background. I could hear DW screaming, like when Arthur punched her. Before the episode started, the family was at home. It seemed a continuation of the previous part. DW was in her room, solemnly playing with her dolls. Parents were reminiscing over pictures. Arthur was in his room. When Powell came in and started barking at him, wanting to play, Arthur got up and kicked the dog. He kept kicking him. The soundtrack now consisting of Powell's yelps. Before slamming his door shut, Kate started crying. Arthur gifted his teeth and the scene faded out. The next scene showed that it was night time. As Arthur crept out of his room with his backpack on his shoulder, he walked past Powell, who whined and drew away. Before grabbing his coat and sneaking out, he ran for a full 3 minutes. The streets all in shadow. There was no music, very soft. Normal happy music. that we all knew from the show. That ended though when he ran into the graveyard. He stopped at his grandma's grave, staring at it. There was an old hunting sound. He start he started digging, crying out in pain as he did. His bare hands were soon sit, slicked in dark red blood. He stopped, finding the coffin. He was crying now. The coffin opened and Arthur was inside it. His eyes were closed and and his glasses were shattered. His family gathered around, staring down and crying. Kate was screaming, and for whatever reason, DW threw Powell into the open grave. Although his body was unmoving, there was a, a there was a still of him running. The screen went black, and there was a low sound that rose of high chatter. It was the devils laughing. The grave started to spin in empty space, opening and sucking the world into it. I could hear DW yelling, "Kate did it!" over and over again, mixed with Powell's cries of pain. Stanley appeared, spiraling down, you know, through the blackness. His head tore off, and the cartoony organs from the episode where Arthur cut his knees started trailing out of the body. There was a series of loud thuds and showed Arthur again, sitting there in the sugar bowl, but Buster was unmoving on the floor. Besides, the Boose's eyes gone. The red socket start started to stream blood, and Arthur screamed in rage. There were a few white flashes, and it showed him in prison wearing the black and white clothing. The show always used his face covered in scars. They slow they showed it on bad guys sometimes. His last words were louder than the other screen clips. I killed them all. I beat out Kate's brains and stabbed DW. I killed my dog. My parents ate poison, but I didn't do it. She did. Dora did it. She made me kill them. Went to credits and it was normal. Cheery music stunned. I went to rewind the tape to see if what I just saw was real or if it just a dream. But while I tried to rewind the tape, the video, the tape seized up. So I took the tape and opened it up. The film had split an inch from one reel all the way down to a few inches from the other one. Either had just witnessed one of the worst things to ever be associated with a children's cartoon, or I'm just off my nut. I will never know. I remember it pretty well though, suggesting it was real. This was made by some sick fuck as a joke. I gave them a thumbs up on making something that seemed so real, like as if it was actually part of the series. After all, the video had never cut out like it said on the tape, unless I had on what had originally been recorded. But now I think of it, the show's already covers very real topics. Could this have been a real episode? They only aired once. They did one on DW's bird dying, never one on abuse or anything. If it really was a real episode, and I almost hope it is, I'm intrigued, and I really want to see it again to prove to myself I'm not going mad.